Hockser. Sadjunior.
Gregan from Beyond the Game. I've got to start off straight away. Sadjunior, why the suit?
I wanted to show my boys, like, you know, you gotta look good, you gotta feel good, and at the end of the day, you gotta play good and really live in the moment. So you don't get many opportunities to go in front of a crowd like that, and obviously I didn't want to disappoint in terms of not only just our play, but how we present ourselves.
Jens from Shift. LJ, you have the second most goals at LAN ever right now. In only your second appearance. Why do you think you're playing so well at the moment?
I think it's just because how much work as a team we put in. It wouldn't have been possible with these three. Like, I don't know, it's just, I don't really have a great straight answer, but just right time, I guess.
Jack or Joe?
Pass on to someone else now.
Okay. Sorry.
Go again, Greg?
I can go again. I've got lots of questions. So for LJ, Sadjunior was your coach for a year and a half during your rise at Oxygen. How important has it been for you having him as part of your journey?
So I guess I could go back to like the start of the season when we had Daniel and Kerm on the team. I just felt like individually I was in a comfortable role, and it definitely showed in my play, but as soon as we brought in Sad, I think my individual performance just shot up, and it wouldn't be possible without him.
Do you want to comment on your relationship?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I've worked with LJ for quite some time now. I believe a year and a half on Oxygen previously. There's a lot of individual talent there, and LJ's put in a lot of dedication over the years of wanting to be one of the best, and honestly it truly shows. And as a coach, like, at the end of the day, like, the result, like, a coach is nothing without his players, so all the credit goes to these three.
On a similar token, Arsenal, you've kind of had a couple of different coaches above you. How are you finding Sadjunior's impact in comparison to other coaches that you've had?
Well, to start, not only is he very smart, like, he understands the game, which I think a lot of coaches do. He's one of the few, not only coaches, but people that knows how to articulate stuff in a way that makes you feel good. Like I said, he gave a speech to us, and it really hit me hard. It, like, forced my brain to lock in and, like, actually live in the moment. So just having him around and him being a part of the team, it's changed everything for me.
Hugo Bernabeu, esport.fr. You won against Rule 1, MENA's Seed 1. Next is Team Liquid. What do you think is the biggest difference between MENA and EU, and do you think you're prepared for this game?
Was that directed at somebody?
No.
Well, to start, I think MENA, like Rule 1, they play a lot of counterattack. So they kind of wait for you to make a mistake and overcommit, and then they just counter, like, instantly. They're really great players, really great ones players. They have the mechanics. They'll counter you all day. Liquid kind of tries to force the issue. They're like the mechanical young guns. They're gonna hit random redirects towards your net, put the pressure on like that. So it's definitely gonna be a lot faster gameplay, I would say.
Alright, Hockser. Did you feel any pressure to replace Daniel, and what do you think you've brought to the team to make them so successful?
Well, I think initially I was afraid because everyone's like, well, how are they ever going to replace Daniel? And the answer is you don't. You do something completely different, put the team in a different direction. And that's exactly what I did. I mean, I played a much more supportive role than Daniel did. I allowed the other two to play better as opposed to have them try to have Daniel play better. And I think it's added to, like, the team dynamic. Like, you see LJ performing significantly higher level than he was before, and Arsenal is too. I mean, and they're happier, so.
Good calls.
Helps.
So Hockser, back in 2019, you were one of those players that was set to rise to the top, and nothing ever came to fruition for you, and you sort of had to find your way until now. So how did it feel to get that opportunity finally after 3-4 years to rise into a top team?
Honestly, it didn't feel real for like the first little while, because it's just like, I felt like it was never gonna happen. It's just, you just rinse and repeat, like 9 through 12 in the regionals and miss regionals, like, and eventually when I got the opportunity, it was just like, I can't let them down. I need to put in as much effort as possible. I need to listen to what they say, because what they say is going to be valid and is going to help me a lot. So I just been listening and learning as it goes, and it's been really nice.
Yeah. You're making your world stage coaching debut. You were with Cloud9, but you weren't on stage. There weren't coaches on stage at the time. How's it been?
Honestly, it's been quite the experience. I was just living in the moment. Honestly, I didn't really get nervous or take into account the amount of eyes on me. If anything, I was just feeling the atmosphere, and I felt a lot more comfortable on there than on the sidelines, or like on a chair watching my players play. Because I knew that if they needed my support or my help, I was right there with them to give them exactly what they needed.
Arsenal, how's it been having rival team player Noly and ex-coach Rolldizz around you during tournaments and scrims, if you ever against them?
Honestly, it's one of the funniest experiences you could ever have. Like, there's times when they'd be playing a match and I'm just sitting there, I might be laying on my bed at my PC, and like, you just hear them screaming at each other. And like, the way our apartment is set up, they're like right next to each other, and I'm like across the way. So I'll just be sitting there just like bobbing on my phone, and you hear them yelling back at each other, and I already know who scored. Like, I got the screen pulled up, but they're yelling, and how loud they are. They're shouting. Like, I hear it first, so I'm like, oh, Noly scored. Okay, Raul scored. Okay. And it's just like, it's really been a funny experience, but I wouldn't give it up for the world. Like, rooming with them, it's honestly kept me in a better mental. It's made me a better person and a better player, so shout out to them.
Mm-hmm. And to follow on from that, I saw you at the full major after you lost. You took the loss quite badly, but I saw Noly was there to help you through it. Has that also been a part of that relationship, of helping each other with tough losses?
Yeah, not only like in Rocket League, like in Rocket League we'll lose and things won't go as we expected. Like, it's part of competing, and the fact that we are able to lift each other up when you need it, you don't have to like take that burden on your own or feeling down like, oh, you should have did more. And it, like I say, it's really changed me as a person. Like, having someone you can rely on when bad things happen, and I know he knows he can rely on me if something bad happens. So, you know, shout out to my boy Joe.
Yeah.
LJ, for yourself, it's probably the first major team you've been on. I know you were on Jamal, Jabri and Oxygen, but this is like your big break. How are you finding it, and how did you find kind of taking that opportunity?
When I first like got the offer from SSG, I kind of just like, I knew I was gonna get something, but I definitely didn't expect an org that was so like prestigious and like past RLCS like seasons, and it was such like a big fan base. It kind of like, it didn't really hit me until after I signed, and like I just saw the love from the fans and, you know, like the attention. So it's definitely like a lot different from Oxen and Jamal Jabari, because we didn't really have that many fans, but it was so much different after I signed, and then especially just making majors and lands, seeing all like the interactions, signing with fans. It's such a cool experience.
Anyone else?
I have one more follow-up, if that's alright. Arsenal, you've kind of been on SpaceStation Gaming for quite a while now, and you've seen the different iterations of the roster but you've been consistently reaching majors and worlds. How does this version of SpaceStation Gaming differ from the ones that you've been in the past, and do you think it can reach higher than you've been before?
Honestly, this iteration of Space Station is like, it's unlike most of the teams I've had. Like the most similar I'd say would be me, Sip, Redos, like during our peak. But even this, like, I don't think I've ever been as close with a coach as Sad. So it's just like, it's like a four-headed dragon for me. Like no matter what happens, I know like my teammates got my back even off the field. If I'm struggling mentally, I know my teammates have my back, and it's allowed me to keep performing to the level I have been.
Thank you.
I'll follow up from that. This is the first event where we've seen teamwork and teams that are very close, and there's less of that star power kind of combined together. We've seen the teamwork come out on top more. How important do you think right now in Rocket League is teamwork and putting that extra work in, and coaches and all that extra side of the esport compared to the individual ability? I guess Sad could answer, and Arsenal, because you've experienced the whole range, right?
Yeah, I think honestly, Rocket League's at the point where you can't necessarily have a one-man show running. We've seen that with teams in the past where one player is just dominating the field. And even now, even when we have LJ doing really well, we have our Arsenal and Hockser in support doing well to set him up for plays. It's just at the current moment, like you can't do everything yourself any longer, simply because teams are a lot more focused and ready to counter you. You get it past one person, there's another person just waiting for you right away, and it's a lot harder to break the defensive walls a lot of these teams put nowadays.
Well, to start, I think back then there were always a few players who were generally ahead of the meta. Like they were actually just like unguardable, like Daniel, Justin, like players like that. Like they could literally 1v3. And as the game has progressed, a lot of players have caught up in a sense that you can't really outplay them as much. Like you can't flick to the wall, take it, musty flick down. Like you can't really do that anymore because you're gonna get cut off. And now, if you aren't doing team play and working with your team, you probably just won't win. Like I don't think there's any player, not even like Zen, that could just literally 1v3. Like you need players positioning, demoing, like doing things to help that player get set up.
Questions?
Good.
All right. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Go make sure your third is alive.